In Kenya, researchers tested whether elephants could distinguish between different groups of humans not by recognizing individual people, but by reading clues such as clothing and scent. The elephants responded far more defensively to cues associated with Masai men, a group with a history of conflict with elephants, than to cues associated with neighboring Kamba men. The elephants were not simply reacting to the color red. They appeared to connect human cultural cues with danger. In other words, they had learned something much broader than "this person hurt me." They had formed a threat category. So the real question isn't just whether animals remember who hurt them, it's how deep, how specific, and how long-lasting that memory of harm actually goes. Published in 2006 by Lucy Bates and colleagues, the study compared elephant reactions to Masai and Kamba men, two neighboring groups with very different historical relationships with elephants. Masai men sometimes speared elephants during conflicts, while Kamba farmers had far less conflict with them. The elephants responded more defensively to Masai-associated clothing and scent, suggesting that they had learned to connect broader human cues with danger. That's already strange. But here's where long-term memory becomes even harder to dismiss. Elephants are known for remarkable social and ecological memory. Researchers have documented long-lasting behavioral effects in populations exposed to severe human disturbance, including poaching and culling, sometimes measurable decades after the original event. But exactly how traumatic experiences are stored and carried across decades is still being studied. Honestly, if you've ever wondered why elephants have such an intense cultural reputation for never forgetting, it turns out the folklore undersold it. They're not just remembering where the waterhole is, they're apparently running a threat database, one that may preserve dangerous places, situations, and social cues for years. But elephants aren't the only animals doing this, and some of the evidence gets even more specific than group-level memory. In 2011, researchers studying crows in Seattle captured several birds while wearing a specific rubber mask, then released them unharmed. Years later, crows in the area would scold, dive bomb, and mob anyone wearing that exact same mask, including people who had never personally interacted with a crow before. The behavior didn't fade with time. It got worse. Crows that had never even been present for the original capture learned to recognize the threatening mask from watching other crows react to it, and young crows learned the response from their parents. What started as one specific memory of harm spread socially across an entire crow population and persisted across generations that had no direct experience of the original event at all. That raises a question that goes beyond simple memory. If a crow that was never harmed can still learn to fear a specific human face because its parents taught it to, is that memory anymore, or something closer to inherited grudge, passed down like a family story nobody in the room actually lived through? There's also evidence this extends to animals we don't typically credit with sophisticated memory at all. Fish, specifically archerfish and certain reef species, have been shown in laboratory studies to distinguish and remember individual human faces associated with either feeding or minor negative stimuli, retaining that distinction for weeks. Octopuses can distinguish individual humans, and aquarium workers have reported striking cases in which an octopus appeared to treat one staff member differently from everyone else, sometimes repeatedly spraying a particular person while ignoring others. In one frequently cited case from a New Zealand aquarium, an octopus reportedly targeted one specific researcher consistently over an extended period, while showing no such behavior toward anyone else on staff. Across these very different species, the same broad pattern appears again and again. Information connected to danger can be learned, retained, and used to guide future behavior, sometimes long after the original event. What ties these cases together may not be raw intelligence. It may be the survival value of remembering danger. An animal that forgets where food was may miss a meal, but an animal that forgets who or what once threatened it may not get another chance. Across very different species, evolution has repeatedly favored the ability to recognize, learn from, and avoid danger. So somewhere now, an elephant is quietly keeping a list. A crow is teaching its chicks a face to fear. And in a tank, an octopus may still remember exactly who it doesn't like. If your brain enjoyed peeling back this mystery, subscribe, and let's keep peeling.